Hieros Gamos, derived from the Greek words hieros meaning holy or sacred and gamos meaning marriage. It refers to a sacred marriage or holy union. This concept encompasses both literal and symbolic enactments of marriage, often involving divine figures. In Greek, it is also known as hierogamy, translating to holy marriage. Hieros Gamos typically involves the ceremonial or symbolic union between deities and may be performed through rituals where human participants represent these divine beings. While it may include literal sexual acts in some traditions, it is frequently employed in a symbolic or mythological context. This sacred union serves as a model for fertility rituals and has profound significance in various domains, including alchemy and Jungian psychology, where it represents the integration of opposites and the establishment of balance and fertility. Sacred marriage can be observed across various mythological traditions, each illustrating unique aspects of divine and earthly union. In Greek mythology, the sacred marriage of Zeus and Hera embodies the stability and order of the cosmos, portraying a divine union that upholds the principles of marriage and social harmony, despite their tumultuous relationship. In Sumerian mythology, the union of Inanna and Dumuzi highlights the cyclical nature of life and fertility, with Inanna's descent into the underworld and subsequent return mirroring the seasonal changes and agricultural cycles, while Dumuzi's role underscores the period of dormancy essential for renewal. Similarly, in Egyptian mythology, the sacred marriage of Osiris and Isis symbolizes resurrection and the continuity of life, with Isis' devotion in resurrecting Osiris, demonstrating the regenerative power of divine love and its impact on fertility and the afterlife. These myths illustrate how the concept of sacred marriage functions not only as a symbol of divine union, but also as a reflection of natural and cosmic order. In Wicca, the Great Rite is a ritual deeply rooted in the ancient concept of Hieros Gamos. This rite represents a symbolic union of the divine masculine and feminine principles, which are central to Wiccan theology. The Great Rite can be performed in both symbolic and actual forms. In its symbolic form, the Great Rite involves a ceremonial act where a dagger, known as the atham, is placed point first into a chalice. The atham, a ritual knife associated with a male principle, represents the divine masculine, while the chalice, or cup, symbolizes the divine feminine. The act of placing the atham into the chalice embodies the union of these complementary forces, illustrating the harmonious balance between the male and female aspects of the divine. This symbolic representation of Hieros Gamos underscores the Wiccan belief in the integration of dualities to achieve a spiritual wholeness and balance. In certain traditions of British traditional Wicca, the Great Rite is not merely symbolic, but is carried out in an actual physical form by the High Priest and High Priestess. This form of the ritual involves a more direct representation of the divine union, often performed during major Sabbats such as Beltane or Samhain. In these instances, the ritual may include physical acts that are intended to symbolize the sacred marriage, enhancing the ritual's connection to the fertile and creative energies of the earth. The High Priest and High Priestess, embodying the archetypal divine couple, engage in the rite to reinforce the union of the god and goddess, bringing their combined energy into the ritual space. This practice reflects the Wiccan belief in the importance of the sacred marriage as a means of channeling divine power and maintaining the balance of natural forces. The Renaissance marked a renewed interest in classical knowledge, including mystical and hermetic traditions. Alchemy, with its rich symbolic language and philosophical depth, experienced a revival during this period. The translation of ancient texts, such as the Hermetic corpus and the dissemination of new alchemical writings, contributed to this resurgence. Alchemists like Paracelsus and Robert Fludd explored the sacred marriage in their works, seeing it as essential for both material and spiritual transformation. The Renaissance humanists sought to harmonize classical knowledge with contemporary thought, and alchemy, with its emphasis on transformation and integration, resonating deeply with these ideals. This period saw a blending of scientific inquiry with mystical traditions, reflecting a holistic approach to understanding the universe and human existence. Paracelsus, born Philippus Aureolus Theophrastus Bombastus von Hohenheim, was a Swiss physician and alchemist who integrated medical knowledge with alchemical principles. He emphasized the concept of the tria prima, sulfur, mercury, and salt, representing the union of opposites. Sulfur symbolized the soul and combustibility, mercury represented the spirit and volatility, and salt stood for the body and solidity. His writings often refer to the sacred marriage as essential for achieving both physical health and spiritual purity. This alchemical process mirrored the psychological transformation from base impulses to higher consciousness, highlighting the interconnectedness of the material and spiritual realms. Paracelsus believed that understanding the alchemical principles behind substances and their transformations could lead to profound medical insights and healing techniques. His holistic approach to medicine and his emphasis on the spiritual dimensions of healing were revolutionary for his time, bridging the gap between science and spirituality. Robert Fludd, an English physician, mathematician, and mystic, saw the alchemical work as mirroring divine creation. His elaborate engravings and descriptions in works like Utriusque Cosmi Historia illustrate the union of opposites, such as the king and queen, or the sun and moon, highlighting the harmonious integration of the microcosm and macrocosm. This sacred marriage symbolizes the reconciliation of dualities, leading to the creation of the Philosopher's Stone, a metaphor for achieving spiritual enlightenment and inner harmony. Fludd's work is characterized by its intricate symbolism and its attempt to unify all branches of knowledge, including science, medicine, and mysticism. He viewed the universe as a harmonious system where every part is interconnected, and if one could understand these connections, it could lead to profound insights into both the natural world and the human soul. Carl Gustav Jung, a Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, developed a deep interest in alchemy during the 1920s. This interest was sparked by the striking parallels he observed between the symbolic imagery in alchemical texts and the dreams and visions of his patients. He began to study key alchemical works such as the Rosarium Philosophorum, Aurora Consurgens, and The Secret of the Golden Flower. These texts provided a symbolic language that Jung used to articulate the processes of psychological transformation and individuation. The Rosarium Philosophorum, an influential alchemical treatise, is particularly notable for its series of woodcuts depicting the alchemical process. These images at the time resonated deeply with Jung, who saw them as symbolic representations of psychological processes. The Aurora Consurgens, attributed to Thomas Aquinas, is another key alchemical text that Jung studied, which he believed offered profound insights into the unconscious mind. Jung found that alchemical symbols and processes reflected the transformative processes in the human psyche. Alchemy's goal of turning base metals into gold mirrored the psychological journey of integrating the shadow and realizing the self. The sacred marriage symbolized the union of the conscious and unconscious aspects of the psyche. Jung's studies in alchemy allowed him to develop a deeper understanding of the individuation process, which he defined as the psychological integration of the various parts of the personality into a unified whole. He saw alchemical symbolism as a valuable framework for understanding this process, offering a rich tapestry of images and metaphors that illuminated the complexities of the human psyche. The Anima and Animus are critical components of Jungian psychology, representing the inner opposite gendered aspects of the psyche. The Anima is the feminine aspect within the male psyche, encompassing qualities such as emotion, intuition, and receptivity. The Animus is the masculine aspect within the female psyche, embodying qualities such as logic, strength, and assertiveness. Jung believed that each person carries these inner opposites, and that acknowledging and integrating them is essential for psychological health. The Anima and Animus are often projected onto people of the opposite sex, influencing our relationships and perceptions. Jung saw the alchemical Hieros Gamos, the sacred marriage of opposites, as a symbolic representation of the union of the Anima and Animus within the psyche. In alchemical texts, the sacred marriage often involves the symbolic figures of the king and queen, or the sun and moon, representing the masculine and feminine principles. Jung interpreted these symbols as representing the Anima and Animus, whose union leads to the birth of the divine child. In other words, the realization of the self. Jung's clinical work with patients often revealed dreams and fantasies featuring alchemical symbols and themes such as the union of the king and queen or the marriage of the sun and moon. One notable case involved a patient who repeatedly dreamt of a royal marriage ceremony. Jung interpreted this dream as a symbolic representation of the patient's need to integrate his feminine side, represented by the queen, with his masculine consciousness, represented by the king. This integration was essential for the patient's psychological development and healing. In another case, a female patient dreamt of marrying a wise old man, symbolizing her need to integrate her animus. Jung saw this dream as reflecting the patient's journey toward embracing her inner strength and wisdom, qualities represented by the animus. Jung also worked with patients experiencing inner conflicts reflected through alchemical imagery, such as the marriage of the sun and moon. This symbolic marriage represented the integration of the patient's conscious and unconscious aspects. Jung interpreted these dreams as reflecting the patient's internal struggle to reconcile and unify these opposing elements. By working with these symbols, Jung guided the patient through the process of individuation, helping them achieve psychological balance and self-realization. This case exemplifies how Jung used alchemical symbols to address internal conflicts and foster psychological growth by integrating diverse facets of the self. Just as the anima becomes, through integration, the eros of consciousness, so the animus becomes a logos. And in the same way that the anima gives relationship and relatedness to a man's consciousness, so the animus gives to a woman's consciousness a capacity for reflection, deliberation, and self-knowledge. The anima and animus are dormant archetypes which transcend the boundaries of biological gender. Jung postulated that the integration of these internal opposites is a pivotal quest towards achieving psychological wholeness and profound self-awareness. The anima archetype materializes as the embodiment of unconscious feminine qualities within the male psyche, while the animus archetype personifies the latent masculine aspects residing within the female psyche. A critical precondition for recognizing the anima and animus lies in confronting the shadow, a process constituting the initial stage of Jungian psychology. Only by embracing the shadow and delving into the personal unconscious, one can clear the path for understanding and integrating the anima and animus. The integration of the shadow, or the realization of the personal unconscious, marks the first stage in Jungian psychology. Without it, the recognition of anima and animus is impossible. Distinct from the shadow, the anima and animus archetypes elude facile comprehension and conscious recognition. The shadow epitomizes the contents of the personal unconscious, readily accessible for conscious assimilation. In stark contrast, the anima and animus remain veiled in the shadowy realms of the psyche, distancing themselves from consciousness in ordinary circumstances, often eluding comprehension. Jung's insights illuminate distinct manifestations of the Animus and Anima in both genders. Men tend to overvalue their masculine aspect, erecting a formidable persona while relegating the feminine aspect to the unconscious. Such an imbalance engenders negative anima projection, as the profound influence of the anima remains obscure to them. Men, engulfed by rationality and fixated on the external world, inadvertently forsake the vast realms of their unconscious, inadvertently imprisoning themselves within the boundaries of the outer reality. Women, on the other hand, possess a more profound connection with their inner world, showcasing a significant psychological variance between genders. Irrational moods and emotions may envelop men, while women might exhibit irrational opinions, further accentuating the innate disparities. The Anima and Animus embody maternal eros and paternal logos, respectively, endowing consciousness with relational capacities for men and reflective introspection for women. Deep within the collective unconscious, the Anima and Animus archetypes assume universal proportions, extending beyond individual experiences. Each man harbors an eternal image of woman, transcending the confines of specific individuals. Similarly, women carry within them an eternal image of the masculine. These archetypal representations might be projected onto real people, unraveling intricate dynamics of the unconscious. Manifesting as the personification of all female psychological tendencies within a man, the anima profoundly influences his psyche. Molded by the mother-daughter relationship, a negative anima assumes irritable, melancholic moods, fostering uncertainty, insecurity, and touchiness. Such a relentless anima perpetuates a somber perspective, imbuing life with a gloomy and oppressive essence. In contrast, the anima, as the archetype of life, endows vitality and creative impetus. When negative, it engenders passivity, exhaustion, and disinterest, siphoning life's energy away like a vampiric force. A positive anima, conversely, instills a vibrant zest for existence, entwining the individual with the essential energies of life. Analogous to the anima, the Animus archetype incarnates all male psychological attributes within a woman's psyche. Influenced by the father-daughter relationship, the Animus implants unyielding convictions, often overlooking the woman's authentic self. A negative Animus creates a distorted reality, severing connections with human relationships and snared within the cocoon of idealistic reveries. However, the Animus does not merely embody negative traits like recklessness or empty verbosity. It also possesses immense transformative potential. Upon integration, it empowers women with qualities like courage, objectivity, and spiritual sagacity. In conclusion, the concept of Hieros Gamos reveals the deep-rooted symbolism of divine and earthly unions across various traditions and cultures. Greek mythology's Zeus and Hera embody cosmic order and marital harmony, while Sumerian myths of Inanna and Dumuzi illustrate the cyclical nature of life, death, and agricultural fertility. Similarly, the Egyptian myth of Osiris and Isis highlights the themes of resurrection and divine love's role in sustaining life. In Wicca, the Great Rite symbolically represents this sacred union, emphasizing the integration of male and female divine principles. Jung's exploration of these archetypes through his case studies further demonstrates their significance in psychological and spiritual growth. The enduring relevance of Hieros Gamos underscores its universal appeal and its profound impact on both mythological narratives and contemporary spiritual practices. How can the ancient concept of Hieros Gamos inspire a deeper understanding of our own psychological and spiritual journeys toward balance and wholeness in the modern world. As we explore the sacred union within, might we unlock new dimensions of consciousness and transformative potential that redefine our very existence. Thank you for watching.